Good evening, gentlemen. Good afternoon. This is Robert Conley, live in Las Vegas at the NFL Draft. And I'm just giving you a little bit of a preview because we're going to start here in about 10 minutes. And going to have a couple of guests on here. And the guests are going to give you information that's happening live on television. Okay? And I'm going to give you information and show you about what's going on around here outside of the draft. I'm right close to the draft, and the show is not going to start for another 10 minutes, but I want to give you some vision of what's going on here. I'm going to see if I don't know if I can. Let me see here. Remember the beginning when I did this? Maybe you don't. I did this. Come up with one center distraction. Once we have the end like that, I turn it into the hands and that was it. Magic just makes us want to believe. So I hope you can see what's going on out here. All of these people out here, they got a sky cam set up that, like when it's on the football field, it's coming up right now. You can see that camera going across the audience, coming all the way back. Let's see how far back it comes. Looks like it's stopped up there. So it's not coming all the way back. There's a boom camera right there. I just had a couple helicopters fly over. This is huge. This is really, really big. And I'm going to tell you, when I was in Nashville a couple of years ago for the NFL draft, they said that there were about 300,000 people on the street there outside of the draft area where the stage was set up. And they have got Las Vegas Boulevard blocked off and East Flamingo blocked off so that people can walk safely from the strip over here to the area where the draft is going to be. And this draft is the draft tent is set up over here. It backs up to Covile Street and is behind the Flamingo. You can see behind me the high roller Ferris wheel. And on the other side of the high roller is the Flamingo Hotel and Casino. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man? All right, all right.
All right, let's see it work.
It's expected to have 500,000 people at this event here on the strip, over here at the stage, and throughout the events that are going on here for the NFL draft.
Sorry. I don't check ID.
I don't know how many cameras there are set up around here and being set up around here. Hey, Lisa. This is pretty big. This is huge out here.
Don't worry, nothing's bad's gonna happen. That's perfect. I'm gonna use this knife to find your card. I saw it. It was a 7, right? 7 of hearts.
Hold that towel up again.
Watch this.
I'm from Columbus, but Pittsburgh's my second home.
7 of hearts. Wait a minute, folks.
There we go.
Use the knife to find the card.
All right.
What if we just can't find it because it's not in plain sight? This ball has been here the whole time. Watch. Can you shake that in your hands?
Yeah.
Does it feel different?
Yeah, there's something inside.
Watch this. Folks, my sleeves are rolled up. My hands are empty. Look.
He's killing the football.
Reach inside.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Robert Conley, and I lost broadcast ability just a few minutes ago. This is Robert Conley on Robert Live, and I'm live here in Las Vegas at the NFL Draft Experience. And I'm going to have two special guests on today if everything works. And Matthew Wilder. I'm going to walk around here just a little bit if I can show you a little bit of stuff. I don't know if there's a blockers going on here in this area to block transmitting out or not. I know that they draw itself and video there, but I'm not in that area. I am about 100 yards from driving on, and I'm just showing you a little bit here because, you know, in 1967 was the first Super Bowl between the NFC and the AFC. Prior to that, we had the AFL and the NFL. And during the NFL times, the rulers of the league was the Cleveland Browns. And since then, they've shown up a couple of years. But now, since it's the NFL and we have 30 teams and we have a draft and we have free agency and we have walk-on, the teams are becoming more and more equal throughout the season. Well, most people that the team together know what down in, and they are of the Okay, so I'm back on here, and it looks like I'm getting out of here. So I'm going to leave this area, go over the strip, and we're going to put there to the strip away from this area. I thought that I experienced something like this when I went into a Steelers game. It lets me get for a little while, and it blocks me out once it's I'm not want anybody infringing on their money, and okay, so here I am back again. Hopefully it'll last this time. I'm close to 500 yards away now and heading away, and some buildings are blocking. So maybe I'll be okay here. And if you're there, let me see. Supposed to have a couple of guests on here this evening. So I'll see if I can bring them on here pretty soon, because they'll show you and talk to you about what's going on stage, on television, what I cannot see, what I can't get close to as I'm broadcasting live. This is Robert Conley in Las Vegas on Robert Live, and I'm going to see if I can bring on one of our guests as soon as they show up. Let me see if they're in the lobby. I don't see anybody yet, so hopefully they'll come on here. Let me get into a shady spot so I can see better right now. Hey, okay, so I see one guest here. I'm waiting for the other one now to come on, and I should not get blocked out of here because of where I'm at now, where I'm located at now. It should be away from the blockers, whatever you want to call them, that keeps me from broadcasting live to the public. See, okay. So again, this is Robert Conley on NGSC Sports, coming to you live from Las Vegas for the NFL Draft. I'm going to be walking over to the strip where there are some things that are set up in order to amuse the people while the draft is going on. And this is a 3-day event starting tonight. It just now opened up, just started. And there's a couple of stages set up where there's going to be bands playing, music playing over at the NFL. I won't call it hospitality, but the NFL experience, the One Pass experience. They've got all kinds of events set up over there, and I couldn't show them to you because they blocked me out. They let me go for about 3 minutes, and then they blocked me out. So I can't show you everything that's set up over there. Last time when I was in Nashville, they had a field goal set up where you can kick a field goal. They had like passing areas set up so you can pass the balls, try to make them into targets. All kinds of different things that have to do with football are set up inside there, and they want you to get involved so that you can have a good experience inside there. I did notice, though, when I was walking away and they were introducing Roger Goodell, there was nothing but booing going on. I guess he's got a few people that don't like him for some reason. Anyway, I got one guest. I got one guest waiting in the wings, and let me see if I can bring him on here. The main guest that I wanted to bring on doesn't look like he's in the lobby yet, and I don't know if he's coming or not, but he was supposed to be here about this time right now, about 8:15. Let me give it another couple of minutes because I want him to come on first, because he's going to give you the information necessary that covers what he and the other guest is going to be doing. So I'm waiting for Ralph to come on and coming to the guest room so that he can introduce Matthew, and so that they can tell you exactly what they're going to be doing with this broadcast here that I'm doing live from Las Vegas. This is Robert Conley on Robert Live on NGSC Sports. And there was well over 100,000 people, I think, out there standing in the heat to see the draft go on. They got the draft tent facing into the sun, which is going to give them more heat for a longer period of time. But once the sun goes down over the mountains, it's over. It's gone. It cools off. Now, the temperature is very good out here. Today it was 92 earlier today, and tonight it's probably going to dip down to about 70, 72, somewhere in that area. So it's not going to be too bad. But if you're out here in shorts and a T-shirt and you haven't been drinking beer, you're probably going to get a little bit chilly. So let me see what I've got going on here now. I'll be right back. Okay. So I'm back now, and what I'm going to do is attempt to do this and bring both Ralph and Matthew on, and Ralph will start giving you information and then turn it over to Ralph. So let me see if I can bring them in. There's one. There's two. Here we go. Hey, Ralph, how are you doing? Matthew?
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going,
How are
guys?
you doing? Okay, so this is Ralph Garcia, one of the owners of the network of NGSC Sports, and he is going to give you information on what he and Matthew will be doing this evening.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the 2022 NFL Draft. Of course, please remember the website. The website is ngscsports.com, where you catch all of your current content. Tonight, of course, at this moment, the Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock. They have made their pick, but before we do that, I want to introduce our other writer and our draft guy, Mr. Matthew Wilder. What do you say, Matthew?
Hey, how's it going tonight, guys?
All right. So as Mr. Conley goes around, I would say that, Mr. Conley, you have the best seat in the house. I mean, people would think that it's inside. I think it's outside.
It's outside, Ralph. It is outside. It's behind the Flamingo. It backs up to Covile Street. And I can't be in that area because they've got blockers on. They blocked me out about 3 times now. So I had to get away from that area so that I could bring you guys in and you guys could tell what you see going on there live, because I can't get in that area with my little camera here. The only people that can are the people that are licensed with the NFL and the networks.
All right. Well, as Mr. Conley, as Robert gives you all the scenes, behind the scenes of the NFL draft live from Las Vegas, Matthew and I will discuss the draft itself as it's happening. We are watching it on our televisions. Matthew, of course, just finished writing up his article last week on the NFL draft. Matthew, I'm going to take a look at that and kind of, compare here and there. But let's get to the number 1 pick, as the pick is in. And Matthew, with the number 1 pick in the 2022 NFL draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Trayvon Walker, defensive lineman out of Georgia. Matthew?
And I really thought it was going to be Aidan Hutchinson out of Michigan, so I'm a little bit surprised about this pick. But we all know what those Georgia linemen can do. I mean, there's easily 3 or 4 of them that are going to go in the first round. I mean, we can all bank on that.
And,
I mean, you're talking about the championship line.
Yeah, I was with you on the Aidan Hutchinson pick. There's been a whole bunch of projections as to who the number 1 pick would be as the college football season began, and I don't know. He appeared to be the consensus pick. I look at you do have Aidan Hutchinson, defensive end. Matter of fact, I'm wondering, as I'm going to look around to see how many at Trayvon Walker moving up this high. There's a lot of things about Walker that I don't know, make me wonder, Matthew, about being the number 1 pick. He doesn't have the arm length. He's still got a whole lot of work that he needs to be done, and to be the number 1 pick kind of surprises me, Matthew.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be maybe close to 3rd overall, maybe a little lower than that. I can't believe he's going number 1 over Hutchinson. So that makes me think, with the Lions, they're at number 2. Could they do it? Now, I had the Lions picking Ahmad Sauce Gardner out of Cincinnati because they need somebody who's like the next Darius Slay out there. That would be a great pick for them. But I have to wonder if that sort of turns the tables now in terms of who's going to get number 2 in Detroit.
Oh, it's live out there.
That's actually like cars are actually right, like the spectators.
Live out there. Well, the pick is in. The number 2 pick is in with the Detroit Lions. Roger Goodell is up at the podium, getting ready to announce the pick. And with the number 2 pick in the 22 NFL draft.
Oh, there we go.
Select Aidan Hutchinson.
Boy, I feel like I called that one, didn't I?
Hey, Matthew, tell us about Aidan Hutchinson.
He has all the tools. He's got the speed. He's got the strength. And he plays very similar to, say, Boye Mafia out of Minnesota, another power rusher with a little bit of speed. I mean, that whole Michigan defensive line was a scary bunch. I mean, Michigan's getting an ultimate pass rusher who can also stop the run, but he's more of a guy who's going to hunt down all the quarterbacks out there. So if you're going against this Detroit defense all of a sudden, you're not going to like what you see.
Yeah, it's gonna. And again, we're looking at the first 2 picks, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, getting Urban Meyer as their head football coach, that absolutely blew up. So unfortunately for Jacksonville, they're in that position where there is no way but up for them. For the Detroit Lions, we know, Matthew, that, of course, this is a franchise that is just mired in loses every single year. Doesn't matter who they pick. I had to bring this up. You see the commercials now. What's the carrier? Verizon, is it?
The Pioneer wagon.
Yeah,
it has me thinking about that all of a sudden. And it sounds like a familiar tune that I'm certainly accustomed to, being in Ohio and watching the Browns go through it almost every single year. And even last year, you look at an 8-9 year, it should have been more like a 10-7 year, but it wasn't because of especially the issues at quarterback. So Detroit has to address that too. They have to get their guy quarterback because, let's face it, Jared Goff is not that guy.
No, he's not. And it's just going to continue to be. I don't see anything changing for the Detroit Lions anytime soon. It hasn't. It hasn't in decades. They couldn't do it when they had a Megatron on there. You know, Barry Sanders, poor Barry Sanders, one of the greatest to ever played on nothing but losing teams. It's sad for the Detroit market and the fans. Of course, with less than 5 minutes for the number 3 pick, the Houston Texans are now on the clock. And when I look at the Houston Texans with the number 3 pick, Matthew, they're in need. They got plenty of needs. They need a guard. They need a center. They need an edge rusher. They could use help in the defensive backfield. I looked at your pick, and you projected them to pick Evan Neal, offensive tackle out of Alabama.
And I really think that's going to be the pick here. In fact, you see now the pick is in, so we're going to find out in a couple of seconds. I was actually quicker than I thought it would be. Okay. And I think it's going to be Evan Neal. They need to set the quarterback. And if they're going to roll with Davis Mills, if that's going to be their quarterback in the future, which we'll find out very shortly if that's the plan, which I think could actually be a good plan. I think he's an up-and-coming quarterback. Keep him upright. Don't do what Cincinnati did for the last couple of years and let Joe Burrow get himself absolutely crushed off. We all know how that went, especially in the Super Bowl. So, yeah, Houston's got to pick a lineman here. I would actually go in that direction.
And in Evan Neal, you're looking at a guy 6'7", 350 pounds. He moves like a 250 pound, a massive human being. And this guy can move. And it's gonna. I think he can play both left and right tackle. He can play both.
And that sort of ability to adapt, and not to mention, when somebody that big moves that fast, has that much ability, you know what they say about linemen in NFL circles? They want them to be agile and hostile. He's the guy. He's like a Jedrick Wills out there. Another great Alabama offensive tackle. And when you start to compare a rookie offensive tackle to the guy that was there for years, that's always a good thing. That's always a good comparison to make.
Yeah. It looks like the pick is in for the Houston Texans. Matthew and I, again, will be breaking down the picks as they go on. Mr. Conley, looks lively out there.
It's pretty busy out here. I'm standing right here on the corner, the intersection of Flamingo and Las Vegas Boulevard, a place where I've never stood before because they got Las Vegas Boulevard blocked off and it's only for spectator traffic, foot traffic out here. And they've diverted all of the automobile traffic away from this street. And they've got a big tent, a big canopy set up over here where they're showing, they got a big screen over here and they've got a band, I guess, that might be playing over here. And it's set up on the lake that's in front of the Bellagio. Anyone that's been here or anyone that's seen the Bellagio fountains, it's set up on the water on the lake where the fountains have their show at. So I'm walking straight down the street now, and I'm going to see if I can walk up over in front of this canopy where I think there's a screen set up over here where you can watch it live right here on the strip. If you can't get close enough over at the event tent itself, then you can watch it live from over here on the strip. And I'm going to show you, here's the people here. There's the lake out there. The lake out there. There's some maintenance people for the fountains out there on the lake right now. And it looks like the Jets are coming up. The Jets are up next. Is that right, Ralph?
The Jets are on the clock, but of course, at this time, with the 3rd pick of the 2022 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans do meet one of their needs, but it was not Evan Neal with the 3rd pick of the draft. The Houston Texans select Derek Stingley Jr., quarterback out of LSU. Matthew, this is the thing about the NFL draft. You can have all the mocks that you want. in a mock, you can't predict what trade up or trade downs are going to happen. And no matter what the guys look like in the order you really believe it's going to happen. For example, it's not like Joe Lunardi picking the field of 64. He's gotten pretty good at that. I don't think anybody's going to ever get the first draft down pat. Now look.
It's almost as hard as predicting the field of 64 in March Madness, to make a nice little comparison. You know it's all going to go wrong once the upsets start to happen. It's almost like that. But yeah, Derek Stingley, another tall corner with a lot of speed. You don't see that so often.
Yeah. What I like about Stingley, what I like about any cornerback in the NFL, their job, of course, is to be able to protect the defensive backfield. But I love a corner that's willing and can play the run. And Stingley is one of those cornerbacks in college that has shown that he's willing to give run support. He's got great quickness. He's able to slip blocks. I really like that. And he's a pretty physical kid as well. We know that, of course, you know, I've always said, Matthew, that my job that I do full-time is recruiting high school kids into college. That's playing on Friday. Your Friday game has to transition into Saturday. Now we're talking about the college guys who played on Saturday. Let's see how they transition into playing on Sunday. Stingley will have a learning curve here, but he's got the tools to make an impact here and make an impact pretty quickly.
Yeah, I completely agree. And when's the last time we saw a corner willing to play against the run? Was that Richard Sherman? Is that who we're talking about now? Has it been this long?
Has it been this long?
What are corners known for? They're pass coverage guys. They don't stop the run, do they? Do they do that, Ralph?
It's been the big push on him. So how's it going, Mr. Conley? How close are you? How close are you? How close? I'm surprised you don't have your earplugs in.
They didn't work when I set them up to work on this app. That's the problem. It's easier when you're sitting there and you got a computer, but when you're on the phone and you're live, everything does on the computer.
Yes, we'll continue.
So as I walk down through the crowd there, here in front of the Bellagio, there's got to be probably about 40,000 people that I just walked. They're coming from one end of the Bellagio to the other. So it's pretty crowded out here, and you still have the people that are over on the strip for the casinos and the shopping and the food and all that other stuff. You still have those people. So once the draft is over tonight, once they stop or once it starts and those people start funneling into the casinos, it's going to be extremely busy in these casinos. It's going to be like it was in 2006 when there was an average of 40 million people that visited Las Vegas a year. And the average person in Las Vegas, and I know there's some that drop more, but the average person drops $200 a day here in Las Vegas, whether they're eating, whether they're shopping, whatever they're doing, they're dropping about $200 a day average here in Vegas. So when the pandemic shut this city down, out $200 million from this city. And it's extremely hard to survive when you snatch that out of the pocket of the city. So I'm going to send it right back to you, Ralph, because it looks like we got somebody else picked. Do we have another pick now that's happened with the Jets?
Yeah, the Jets pick is in. We are waiting for Roger Goodell to come to the podium to announce the number 4 pick, which is the New York Jets. Matthew, the Jets were 4-13 last year. Again, the reason why you picked this high is because you're not that good. And the Jets have suffered. Yeah, they've suffered pretty much. They need a lot of help. You know, mainly they need help on the defensive side of the football. They can use a cornerback. They could use an edge rusher, a linebacker. Of course, they could also use a wide receiver. It's not one of their primary needs. It's on defense. You have them picking Kayvon Thibodeau, defensive end out of Oregon.
Well, the way defensive ends have been going in this draft so far, it's not exactly a stretch. I mean, there's a run at edge rushers, and I totally expected this. I expected runs at both edge rusher and wide receiver, and I don't think that's going to change at all tonight. We're going to see 4 to 6 edge rushers, 4 to 6 receivers taken in the first round. It's going to be an odd first round, and that's just the way it's going to play out.
And with Thibodeau, this is one of the better players in the draft, better players available in this draft. Roger Goodell does come to the podium now, announcing the Jets pick. Well,
and it's so hard, Garner. Oh, I am not doing good tonight. I am
you, it continues on. With the 5th pick of the 2022 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select cornerback out of Cincinnati, Ahmad Gardner. They did address their needs at quarterback, Matthew, but not the guy that we thought.
It's not the guy we thought, but hey, I mean, the Jets know they need a secondary, and their secondary has taken steps back since they were practically forced to trade Jamal Adams a few years ago. They've got to get their secondary back on track. I think they knew that coming in this draft. And look who they just drafted. 6'2" and a quarter inches tall, and he's fat.
I think it was the Jets. Jet 4.
Go ahead,
They picked somebody out of Cincinnati, out of University of Cincinnati. Yeah, right.
Go ahead, Matthew.
Okay, I was just waiting for Robert. So yeah, I like the fact, and these kind of quarterbacks, they don't grow on trees. Anybody who's that tall is typically a slower but more physical corner. So when you've got a corner who has all the tools, they've got the height, they've got the speed, they've got the coverage skills, and nobody's going to burn them, you've got the perfect corner. I think he's better than Stingley overall.
I agree with you. Now, you talked about some positives there. When it comes to, say, the negative or the weaknesses when it comes to Gardner, one of the things I noticed that he uses his hands a lot. Too much feel in the secondary, covering downfield. And one starts to think, is that going to lead to penalties? We know the dreaded pass interference. The dreaded what's the 5-yard penalty? I can't even think about it right now. Illegal use of hands. So I want to see how that happens to him, and he's got to do a better job on his tackling, on his form tackling. But this is a kid who's very physical and really good downhill player. And again, it meets the Jets' needs. The Jets need this physical corner that's going to solidify that defensive backfield. Look, the Jets need all kinds of help, okay? They need all kinds of help. But this is a good start. But I agree, I agree with you. I thought Gardner, I was agreeing with you. The Gardner was going to go with the second pick on the second pick to the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, and I think had Hutchinson gone first, that probably would have been the case. But once those dominoes started to fall, once the Jaguars went with Trayvon Walker, I think that shifted the draft into a different direction than what we were expecting.
Boy, no matter where Robert goes, he's got a big crowd out there. There's just people roaming all over Vegas.
There's a lot of people out here, Ralph. I mean, as I'm standing here and I'm watching these people, all of these people are heading north on the strip, and it looks like the majority of them are heading over to the draft area. And it's just going to be wall-to-wall people over there. They've got a space over there in front of the draft tent that will probably stand, and when I say stand, everybody's standing. It will probably stand about 250,000 people over in that area. And there's some steps over there, and there are people drinking, and there are people not watching where they're going, and they got a line of porta-johns that's about an eighth of a mile long. So they're going to take care of the people over there. It's just that the people have to take care of themselves. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of cops. Probably 3/4 of the cops in Las Vegas are out here on the Strip tonight.
So you heard Robert. If you need to use the bathroom, you'll be okay. Plenty of places to use the bathroom out there. That's for sure. Yeah, I can imagine the crowd. So the Giants pick is in, Matthew. Again, at 4-13 last year. This is one of my favorite teams. Was my favorite team growing up. You know, I enjoyed so much the Super Bowls, but of course, you know, it's been a lot of losing. The Giants are basically, I think, have one of the worst records in the NFL over the last 10 years. At 4-13 last year, they're in big need right now on the offensive line. Basically, almost the entire offensive line. You had the Giants picking Ike Ekwonu. Did I say that right?
I think you said it right. Yeah, they need an offensive tackle. Now, will they take an offensive tackle early? Maybe, and this is kind of one of the things we have to be careful with when we're doing mock drafts. Most teams do not take an offensive lineman early. It's almost as, how do I say it? It's against the norm as taking a running back early, it seems. So it's so taboo if you're a GM to do this. But we'll see if the Giants basically break away from that.
Well, here it comes.
Now I'm looking at this. Okay, and this is what I thought was going on. This guy that just come on stage, they give it up from Caesar's Palace, right? They give it up from Caesar's Palace. So the guy's on stage now is in Caesar's Palace, which is 500 yards away from the tent where all of the people are gathered outside behind the Flamingo. So they're holding the draft inside the Caesar Palace, which is where the people will be to give autographs. And all of the people over at the draft area, the draft experience area, are watching a big screen over there. And that's not where everything's happening at. It's happening inside. Yeah, I knew it was going to be held at a different location.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. We are waiting for the announcement of the 5th pick, the New York Giants.
So where I'm standing at, Caesar's Palace, there's one of Caesar's Palace towers right there. Where I'm standing at, it's across Flamingo. It's across East Flamingo from the Bellagio. And I'm standing in front of the Bellagio. And where people thought, look at it, here we go, right here.
And it's another
where the people are going now, where they think they're going to be seeing the draft happen at the draft experience, is over past Bally's. You can see Bally's there. It's over past Bally's, and it's directly across the area from Caesar's Palace, but it's 500 yards away with buildings in between.
Well, the 5th pick is in, and with the 5th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select defensive end out of Oregon, Kayvon Thibodeau. Matthew, I think we have just seen the first pick that was best player available. This was not one of the Giants' primary needs, but it is the case of, with Thibodeau still on the board and not expected to be on the board at pick 5, how do you not pick this very impressive college football player?
And it's an absolutely brilliant pick here. And the reason I like it is because, hey, You've got yourself the next Daniel Hunter on your defensive line. And we've seen other defensive ends play like this. You've got Daniel Hunter, you've got the Boza brothers, and to Kayvon Thibodeau to the Giants. It's a home run pick for them. I love it, and I like the fact that the Giants defense just got the biggest upgrade in the draft, period.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, as a Giant fan and for Giant fans across America and around the world, as Matthew said, it's a home run pick. This is an explosive defensive end. Strong hands. He has one of the quickest first steps in college football on the defensive side of the football, and he literally explodes off the snap. Of course, what I want to make sure that he improves on is his run support. He's got a habit of giving up the edge in the run game. Of course, he also is one of these players who knows he's so good, Matthew, that he can make the big play. And sometimes he relies on his ability to make that big play, which takes him out of the play. So he's going to want to improve on that.
Technically, so important. Instead of always consistently going for the big hits and constantly focusing on those tackles for loss, it's more important to think about the secure tackle. That way, you don't run the risk of having somebody juke on you, hurdle you, or just plain plow you down. Because we all know NFL running backs do all of the above.
Yeah.
So he's got to work on his tackling technique. His pursuit, his acceleration are there.
And if he can concentrate, Matthew, on getting away from star power, I can make the big play. If he can get away from that, he will actually improve and could become a dominant edge rusher for years.
Mm-hmm.
Robert, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing okay out here, Ralph. I've moved away from the major area, the area where the major percentage of the crowd is, and I'm walking the strip on the west side of the strip. And this area where I'm at now is called City Center. This place is the Aria, the Cosmopolitan, and all of the big name hotels are here, and a couple of big casinos are here. And when I was in here a couple of years ago, there was a watch shop in here. And like I said, it's where the money is at here. A lot of young people with money come here. It's not necessarily a place where people my age come to frequent and have a good time, but a lot of young people with money from all over the world come in here. And I went into a watch shop in here, and I asked the guy, what was the most expensive watch that you have in this store? And he says, that one over there in the window. I said, how much is that? He said, it's $330,000 for a watch. All handmade. Everything was handmade, precise. And you don't ever expect to be late with that, because if you're late with that watch on, you're probably going to miss $1 million deal, you know? So you better not be late if you're wearing that watch. And if you're wearing that watch, somebody else better not be late.
If you're wearing a $330,000 watch, it better be because you're making $1 million deals.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, this condo that I'm painting right now, one of the guys that lives in this condo works at a golf club. This golf club only has 80 members. Every member pays a minimum of $300,000 a year for membership. Okay, now, right down the street from this golf club is TPC, where the PGA has a tournament every year. That TPC is not manicured as well as this country club is. He said it can't even hold it. TPC is supposed to be a number 10 manicured. He said that the TPC is not even close to this golf course. Now, nobody carries their golf clubs into this place. They're all in a locker, and when they get to the course, somebody goes, picks them up, brings them to them. When they're done, they clean the clubs up, put them back in the locker area. If somebody there that comes into play wants something to eat, wants something to drink, they'll type it into the screen on their golf cart, and somebody will bring it to their hole for them. Bring it to the hole. A guy ordered a sandwich the other day. He ordered a sandwich. He wanted it cut in wedges and triangular wedges, and he wanted the crust taken off and somebody to deliver it to him. Okay? Now, the big thing about this course, okay, let me tell you, a bigger thing about this course is that although you're paying $300,000 a year for a membership, if you want to bring somebody along, it costs $500. There was a guy that owns a company that showed up yesterday that had 60 friends with him, and he paid $500 each. And a hole-in-one was going to pay the winner $500,000 cash. That's Las Vegas, baby. That's Las Vegas.
That's Las Vegas, baby. Hey, just before the Panthers make their pick, imagine being from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and being able to take a house and tear it apart, put it back together. Imagine having the abilities to make a torn down house look like paradise. And then imagine having a little side habit. And, for half of the year, you pack up your bags from Pittsburgh and you go to Las Vegas, Nevada, and you sit by the tables and you take the sights in. And on top of that, you're a patriot because you served this country. You're very well respected. That's kind of a good life. Matthew, you know anybody that lives that way?
You want me to take you in and get you an ice cream cone, Ralph?
I mean, one of my friends from Cleveland State moved to Vegas a few years ago, and any opportunity that he has where it's significantly warmer over there, and it's colder than what it should be over here in Ohio, he takes every opportunity to just completely rub it in. I think it's hilarious, but it's like, come on, man.
Every opportunity. With the 6th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select. I got to make sure I say his name right. Offensive tackle from North Carolina State, Ikem Ekwonu. If I didn't say that right, young man, please forgive me. But looking at his grades here, he is, give me a second here. Kid is 6'4", 310 pounds. And the biggest thing that comes out of the film, Matthew, is the mobility of this big young man.
The mobility, and how about those long arms of his and all that strength? That's not the offensive lineman I want to go against. He looks like a younger version of Michael Orr, sort of, where he's just this big, massive human being, sort of towers over everybody else, and just looks like a doggone monstrosity out there. I mean, what a pick for the Panthers. I love it.
Yeah, it's a great pick. A powerful young man. One of the other good things about him is being able to sustain his blocks. Very good at that, and a good blocker. So again, that's going to be very big here for him. What he's got to work on, I got my notes here. He's susceptible to the inside moves as a pass blocker, and he's got problems with longer rushers who get up into his frame. And again, remember, when you are scouting a kid out of college, he's going to have his strengths, he's going to have his weaknesses. That's why he's going to the next level, so he can get with his coaches, his defensive coaches, and get better at these things. They'll work with him on that. But when you are as big and as strong, and like Matthew said, and you have these long arms at his position and the strength that he has, you have an advantage coming in. So great pick for the Carolina Panthers. The Giants are on the clock. The pick is in. They have the number 7 pick. Their second pick. of the first round of the 2022 NFL Draft. It looks like Mr. Conley has decided to walk into a building.
What team?
Okay, so I've moved inside of the city center mall, and if you can see right through all of that, what's that called? That glass, those little glass, whatever them things are called, crystals. There's a restaurant inside there. Okay, there's a restaurant. You can see the bar. You see all these crystals on the ceiling, making a wall there. And I'm going to walk around so you can see the other side of the restaurant here in the mall. All right. Can I see it from this level? If I can see it from this level. There was a wooden flute coming there, and now I don't see that wooden flute. And so off a walkway going out. They changed it during the pandemic. Things are different here. I haven't been in here. Yes, now you can enter this restaurant bar from both sides, and normally you could not. So it's changed unless I'm on the wrong floor. Anyway, what are you seeing? What are you seeing going on? Because this looks different. I'm gonna have to go up the escalator and see if I can see something different. All right, buddy. See if I can see something different, because it's not what I normally see.
All right. Well, you go on up. The pick is in, Matthew. The Giants again needing help on the offensive line. Took Thibodeau with the first pick, obviously best player available at that point. Still needing an offensive tackle, a guard, a center. So Roger Goodell comes up to the podium, Matthew, and let's see what's going on. Again, this is you are with Robert live on NGSC Sports. We are here looking at the 2022 NFL Draft. I'm here with Matthew Wilder. He is, of course, the NGSC Sports writer and draft scout with us. Robert Conley is in Las Vegas, Nevada, live on the ground, looking at all events. The Giant pick is in. And with the 7th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select offensive tackle out of Alabama, Evan Neal. Now, there you go, Matthew.
It finally happened. He's finally off the board. And you'd have to wonder how much further he was going to slide in this draft. But yeah, obviously, with the Giants exercising a 5th-year option on Daniel Jones, they went ahead and decided, we got to give this guy some protection. We need to have, he needs time in the pocket. So that's why I like this pick. A little later than I thought it would happen. But I have to give the kudos to Giants because Daniel Jones is going to have all day to throw. I love it.
Not only is Daniel Jones going to have all day to throw, one of the most impressive things, first of all, a powerful specimen of a human being and a football player. For a big guy, another big guy who carries his weight very well. One of the things that I love about him is his ability to get to the second level. So if Saquon Barkley can stay healthy, and he can break through the line, he can look for Neal to get that block at the second level. It's also going to be, go great for short passing routes, where Neal can create a whole lot of space with his massive frame and his power. He still has a tendency when he gets to the second level to lunge a lot. He kind of gets over anxious, overexcited, trying to make a play. So he's definitely going to want to work on that. Same thing goes for his pass protection. But again, this is all about working with your coaches, getting better at your technique at the NFL level. Because remember, it doesn't matter how great you are in college, Matthew. You're going to the pros now where the game speeds up a whole lot.
Oh, yeah, and we've had a few examples of linemen just not making that transition. I mean, one comes to mind right away when I think of linemen that have failed after being an award winner at the college level. Now, I forget the guy's name. There was a certain center that the Browns took years ago who was like all ACC honors like crazy. And what did he do in the NFL? Nothing.
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 Nothing. Yeah, it's again, it's very easy to be a star in college. And well, I'm here in the state of Tennessee, and I remember the excitement when the Titans picked Vince Young out of Texas. We remember the 2006 national championship game with Texas and USC, one of the best national championship games you could ever see in your life. Vince Young made his debut here eventually in Tennessee, and well, the same tunnel that he ran in was the same tunnel he got ran out of.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
And I just remember that his name. It was Cam Irving.
Yeah.
You remember him? Cam Irving.
Yes, that's right. And again, you come out with a lot of hype. You can come out with all the hype in the world. If you're not ready to make it, a lot of these kids, Matthew, no matter how much you tell them, no matter how much they read on it, no matter how much they hear it in their interviews, they seem to not grasp the concept of the difference between college and professional football. And a lot of it has to do with they're so confident because they're such a big star. I deal with kids on the high school level. Well, I'm not worried, coach. I'm a star. I'm going to make it in college. Well,
we've seen this in the quarterbacks are actually more known for doing this, sort of having that flop, as you would say. Vince Young being one of them. Mark Sanchez had a hard time transitioning. And maybe there's something about some of these USC quarterbacks, but Matt Leinart had struggles at the NFL level. It happens. And did we just lose our guy Robert? Oh, there he is. Okay.
He's still with us.
Okay, I thought we lost him. Yeah, okay.
Where are we at, Mr. Conley?
Is that no matter how many to the wrong part of the city center. So there's no that rest. So I'm heading over where of the. This here is the entrance of the city center. It takes you back to the Aria and the other hotels and casinos back there, and they have lots and lots of traffic. This is the area where I told you a lot of young people come to play and stay. And when you walk through some of the area, everybody that's walking in that area looks like they should be on the front of GQ magazine or CoverGirl or something. That's the type of people that I've seen walking around in that casino area. So everybody's dressed, and I won't say dressed to the nines, I'm going to say dressed to the 11 and a half, because they all got it on when they're walking around in there, because they want to impress, they want to feel good, they want to be dressed, and they want to show somebody else that they are dressed and feeling good. And this spot right here, let me see, behind this wall, they got a new building going up because the one that was built with inferior concrete, and they had to tear it down. It was like a 35-story building with condos in it, and when they built it too fast. The inspectors did not inspect the concrete. They only sold condos up to about the 20th floor, the 14th floor and no higher, and then they had to tear it down, so everybody had to move. They probably had to buy them out at a premium price, and now they're building another building there, and I'm sure they're going to inspect the concrete this time when they finish this building. But what I'm doing right now is I'm walking into the watch shop where that $330,000 watch was at. I'm walking to that shop, and you can take a look at one of these watches. Let me see if I can get it on there.
All right, as you get there, whoa.
You like that, huh?
Matthew, that'll look good on your wrist, Matthew.
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? If only I could afford it.
Well, you can afford it.
A lot.
So you got a bit of a shot here,
wait,
Ralph.
okay, so Ralph, that one would look good on Matthew. This one would look good on you, Ralph, because you got a Cadillac, right? This would look good on you because it's bling, bling, bling.
Wow. Listen, I'm just making the
Oh my
payments on the Cadillac.
That's got all kinds of different stones on it, Ralph. That's got stones from purple to blue to green to orange to gold.
I'd have to carry both my
And there are stones in the face of that watch. Yeah, you'd
All
love
right,
that one, buddy.
So the pick is in, the 8th pick with the 8th pick of the 2022 NFL draft. And by the way, who the hell? Oh, the Atlanta Falcons in need of a wide receiver. In need of a wide receiver. I got so many notes in front of me. In need of a wide receiver, do not pick Garrett Wilson from Ohio State. Do not pick Jameson Williams out of Alabama, but make the pick from USC, Drake London, wide receiver. And Matthew, this is a guy who is not going to blind you with his speed, but he is a tall guy, a guy who's able to get up in the air, he gets separation. He's like, they compare him to a Vincent Jackson, the ability to make that play and use his height to his advantage, Matthew.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now he's not as like fast as say Megatron, but equally impressive with his ability to just win jump balls. And you've got to do that in NFL. When you're going against these corners with all their blinding speed, you have to have some sort of edge over them and height to see all that strength. That's what's going to get you places in the NFL. And I actually like this pick because what the Falcons are doing is they're essentially moving on from Calvin Ridley, who's unfortunately in some major legal trouble right now. We don't know when he's going to see the field again.
Yeah, it's a problem. Another thing I like about London is his ability, his body control. I love his body control. I love his yards after the catch, how he's able to take a play and extend the play. That's going to be huge. And like you said, it's a need that they had to fill immediately with the loss of Ridley. And you're right, Ridley's got a lot of problems. But like I said, London doesn't have that downfield speed, but he's going to make the plays. He's going to make the plays. And remember now, we're talking about the Atlanta Falcons, who now have to move on from Matt Ryan, who's no longer with the Falcons anymore. So,
right, with Carson Wentz, and that's going to be interesting.
Didn't they get Marcus Mariota?
I don't remember if they got Marcus Mariota. I know they got Carson Wentz, so that was straight up trade.
Wait a minute. No, they didn't get Mariota. Where did Mariota go?
I thought he was still with the.
I don't know why I thought he went to the Falcons, but no, they did not get Mariota. So the Falcons are looking for a quarterback. They need a quarterback to throw to this kid.
Okay, so where I'm at now, I've made my way over into the other section of this mall, and I found what I was looking for. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pan around so you can see Mastro's Ocean Club, the restaurant, is in this flute.
Wow.
Inside of the mall. Okay, this is the mall that has the $330,000 watches. Now, this is why everybody needs to come out here, because you need to come out here and see what you don't see. I don't care if you go to New York City. I don't care if you go to L.A. What you do when you come out here to Las Vegas is you see stuff you just don't see. I mean, you've got live plants in the mall, okay? Every name that you can think of that's a designer name is out here in Vegas. Every chef that you can think of has a restaurant out here in Vegas. And you don't have to drop $200 a day when you come out here. You can live it on a budget. I mean, fix it to your budget. Find out when it's cheapest to get a flight out here. If you don't want to fly, drive out here, depending on where you're coming from, take you 4 or 5 days. But guess what? If you're driving out here, you get to see America, the beautiful, the purple mountains majesty. You know, the hills, the valleys, the lakes, the trees, the mountains. You get to see everything that this fantastic country has to offer if you drive out here. And since you're driving, you can take as many photos as you want to take and enjoy them and then post them on Facebook like I do. This is Robert Conley on Robert Live on NGSC Sports.
Yeah, that's one thing I got to say about Mr. Conley. He takes that drive out there. He posts beautiful pictures. And by the way, Mr. Conley, I meant to tell you, on my bucket list that I have not achieved yet is a trip to Las Vegas. So the wife and I are planning to get out there sometime soon. So be prepared. And yes, we will be driving the luxury Cadillac across the country.
Well, see, what I can do, Ralph, is I can send you the basics on how to win baccarat. And as you travel across the country, you can stay in casino hotels and go get something to eat, go get something to drink, go play for 2 hours, make enough money to pay for your hotel, and get on the road the next morning.
Wow.
That's how you travel for free.
What a life. And trust me,
there's ups and there's downs. There's ups and there's downs, but if you know the basics, you can stay up most of the time.
All right. And so the pick is in with the 10th pick of the 2022 NFL Draft. The Seattle Seahawks select offensive tackle from Mississippi State, Charles Cross. So, Matthew, the Seahawks, of course, no longer have Russell Wilson in their stead, in need of a quarterback. But there are no quarterbacks, in my opinion, and I know in yours, that are worthy of the number 9 pick here. So they go with Charles Cross, a projected top 10 pick from Mississippi State, guy with long arms, great top-end speed, strong young man. Good pick for the Seahawks.
It's a very good pick for the Seahawks, and it makes me wonder, are they really going to draft a quarterback at all in this draft, or they're just going to say, hey, we're just going to roll with Drew Lock? What's the plan here? I think that's the kind of take that they might trust Drew Lock, actually. But we're going to find out very soon.
They're not new?
They're semi-new. They've been around.
All right.
Oh,
so
Well, these are women's. Are you looking for men's?
Matthew,
I'm just looking for the highest price.
Yeah, this one's
can
going to
you
be our
see
highest.
those on your feet?
2130.
And we start at $525.
Okay. Okay, so Ralph, where I'm at now is I'm in a sneaker shop, and these are new and slightly used sneakers.
No, they're new. They just look.
Oh.
They were inspired by basketball culture.
Okay. So it's like the stone on front of houses. The stuff that's not real is what sells the best. And it's okay. It looks like it's something else, but it's not.
Yeah, so they want you to put on the sneakers and have to put on the boxes and the plates.
Oh. Okay. Oh wow, handmade, made in Italy. $2,130. $2,130 for this pair of slippers, sneakers. Whatever you want to call them.
Wow.
$2,130. You can get your wife a pair of those. You know what? We need a pair of these made in black and gold because he's a Steelers fan.
No.
I'm sorry, it's fair. I'm sorry.
You're trying to convert us, Ralph. It's happening, man.
Thank you.
He wants to take, especially if he's
All right, see you later.
to the dark side, you know. He's going to take it.
You don't need no black and gold ones, Ralph?
No.
They'll go with that. They'll go with that outfit she's got. It's black and gold.
You know that my daughter would do that any day. She'll do it. You know, it hurts me. It hurts me every Christmas and on her birthday. I literally have to shop and buy Pittsburgh Steelers merchandise. It breaks my heart.
It's a wonder you got any fingers left. That stuff burns.
Oh, boy. It really does burn. So the pick is in for the New York Jets. They do have the number 10 pick via the trade with the Seahawks. And the Jets, again, this is the Jets' second pick in the first round. That was pick number 4. Again, they're needing a cornerback, edge, linebacker. They need a lot of help on defense. So we will see now what happens with the 10th pick with the New York Jets. And again, you know, Matthew, when you're in this position right here with the New York Jets, you got these first round picks. You know that not everyone is going to pan out. So you hope that you make the right picks here. That's all you can do right now. So let's see what they do.
Okay, I'm really hoping they go receiving here because give this guy Zach Wilson a go-to target here, and you guys will be on the path to win.
Yeah.
But anything can happen. We all know that our projections, our guesses, they get tossed out the window when the GMs make their decisions. That's kind of how this draft has gone so far.
That is a fact. That is a fact. How's it going, Mr. Conley? Where you headed now?
I'm going to head back up the strip now. I've walked out of that mall, and I'm going to be walking right beside the strip and heading north on the strip back towards the crowd that's in front of the Bellagio, where the big television screens are that's broadcasting the draft. And there's still people heading that way. I mean, there's all kinds of people still heading that way, and they're heading that way on both sides of the strip. And why do I know that they're heading that way? Because they've got on their jerseys, they've got on their hats for their favorite teams, and they're all walking north towards the draft tent. That's not the draft tent. They're going that way. They're going that way.
All right, so the pick is in, and with the 10th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select wide receiver Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State, again addressing one of their major needs, a very creative receiver, speedy receiver. This is one of the guys that I like, Matthew, because I think this is a kid that's going to make an impact in the NFL. And I think he's going to make an impact for years.
Absolutely. And isn't it funny that after I just told everybody on this show they really need to give Zach Wilson a target, what did they do? They gave Zach Wilson a target. Did they? Oh, man, did they ever?
He's very, very elusive. Matthew, very elusive. Once he gets to the second level, he's one of these juke, type of players that has these really good moves to get away from you. We'll see how that works as the game, of course, is going to be a whole lot faster. The defensive backs and safeties are going to be a whole lot faster for him, but it's going to be interesting. Now, he's a small kid. Now, I don't buy too much into that. Well, he's not built. Listen, we've seen plenty of small players make an impact in the NFL. I've always said it's about your heart and your desire to want to play the football game. And he's got the propensity to drop some footballs. So have to work on that too, Matthew.
Right. And I think that's sort of bias that everyone has towards the taller receivers. Over time, that's going to go away because size is no longer the prerequisite for being an NFL receiver. It's about all the other stuff. Can you create matchup nightmares? Are you consistent catching the football? Are you consistent with making defenders miss? Those are the important things now. Now, that doesn't mean you want a complete small fry out there is going to give himself minutes out of the game either. But as long as they have just enough strength to have that durability you're looking for and to still make plays every Sunday, you've won the draft. You completely won the draft.
Yeah. By the way, Mr. Conley, you talked about everybody's not dressed to the nines out there. They're dressed to the nines in the NFL draft. These boys are definitely wearing their NFL draft vests.
Yeah, when I was over there and I tried to broadcast it earlier before I got blocked off, I could see the painted faces. You know, they got the fingernails done up. They are done from head to toe. They've got their flip flops on, their sneakers, and some of them's got on their bling bling high heels. You know, they got on whatever they want to have on to represent their teams, and they're all looking good. I mean, yeah, I'm a Steelers fan. You know that. You know that's true. I'm a Steelers fan, but that doesn't mean that I don't like the uniforms and the dress of the other team's members, their fans, because they know how to dress just like we know how to dress. I know we set the code, but they do a pretty good job of making sure that they can look good too, because it's not just the black and gold that looks good. Well, I ain't gonna lie to you. The black and gold look, go Steelers! The black and gold looks good all the time. But that's what I'm talking about. But all the other teams, yes, they know how to dress. They know how to get ready for their game. They got their big necklaces on. They got their flags. They got their jerseys. They all painted up. They all painted up. See what I'm saying? Everybody's got their stuff, so it's good. They're dressed to the nines. But when you go in the city center, they're 11.5.
Well, Mr. Conley, Robert, my daughter says, ready to see who the Steelers pick in this draft. She is all tuned in.
She's ready.
She's ready.
Where's that first pick that we've got? I had it, but I don't have it in front of me. I don't remember it. But so I don't have it in front of me. Do you have that, the first pick that the Steelers are going to make?
Well, when I go over to Matthew's pick, as soon as it comes up on the screen, and it's got to refresh here. Why, I don't know. I don't need you to refresh right now. But you give me a second, I'll give that to you here in a second.
All right.
All right. So, where are the Steelers picking here?
We're on
Steelers are
26.
picking. Oh, yeah, number 20. And Matthew has the Steelers picking Matt Corral, quarterback out of Mississippi. That would be interesting.
Yeah, and
I'm going to
where some of these quarterbacks are going to fall. And I can just as easily see them picking, say, Malik Willis or Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati. It could be several different directions depending on who's there. But yeah, Steelers have to start over at quarterback, obviously, with the retirement of Big Ben. Mason Rudolph is not the answer. I don't trust him to be a starter. But they need to have somebody compete with him, if nothing else, to push him to be better.
I am glad that you said.
How do you feel about Mason Rudolph?
I feel that Mason Rudolph has a very good long bomb arm. Okay, he can pass the ball and he can hit it on target downfield, and he can hit the short passes too. The problem that I see, and this is the only problem that I can see that Mason, I'm sorry, there's two problems that I see with Mason. Number one, mental capabilities. I'm not sure that Mason has what it takes mentally to be a starter for 17 games in the season. I don't think that he's got that. And number two, although Mason Rudolph can throw the ball 30, 40, 50, 60, maybe even 70 or 80 yards and on target, in order to throw the ball that far on target, you've got to have some blocking and you've got to be able to scramble out of the pocket. Mason Rudolph is not quick enough to scramble out of the pocket when he needs to. He doesn't have that agility. He doesn't have that footwork. He doesn't have that ability to do that. So in order to be a quarterback in this league, you've got to be able to scramble. You got to be able to get away, and you got to be able to see over top of the defenders. If you do not have the ability to scramble, you cannot survive. And so I don't believe, just as Archie Griffin was a two-time Heisman Trophy winner at Ohio State, that was fantastic in college. But once he got to the NFL, he didn't survive. A two-time Heisman Trophy winner didn't survive in the NFL. So you've got to have what it takes to be quick, to be fast, to be nimble, to be able to get outside the pocket, to be able to throw the bomb, and to be able to see what's on the other side of the field when the right side is not open and get the ball over there. I don't see that Mason's got that. I like the guy, but he just doesn't have everything that you need to have to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Well, when you said all that, I suddenly started to think of Aaron Rodgers for some reason.
Yeah, see, Roger still has that ability, and he comes up smiling when he gets hit. But Mason is shaky. And it might come from the hit that he took with that helmet on the head a couple of years ago from that guy from Cleveland. I don't know what his name is.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me. I want to forget. I really want to forget that name.
It may have come from that. I don't know. But whatever it is, he does not have the positive mental attitude it takes. You've got to be, and this makes it hard to be a professional football player and a husband or a boyfriend and a daddy, because being in the NFL, you have to be aggressive in your job. And if you're not aggressive in your job, chances are you're not going to be good in your job. And then you take that aggression home. You got to be able to turn it off when you take that uniform off, but not everybody can. And the same thing with turning it on. If you can't turn it on when you need to turn it on, you're not going to survive in the NFL.
Nope.
All right. So now, Matthew, was there a change here? This is the 11th pick in the draft.
And the Saints are on the clock.
That was the Washington Commanders pick.
Looks like they're trying to acquire more picks.
So apparently the Commanders have made a deal with the Saints. And the Saints, who originally had the 16th pick in the draft, move up to number 11.
This is going to be very interesting.
I'd like to know who they thought was worthy of moving up for.
Yeah, there's obviously someone they wanted, and they were concerned that another team was going to pick their guy. So obviously that's the reason they're moving up. So that means they're getting a big playmaker, and that is...
They need a tackle and a wide receiver, but here it comes. Roger Goodell is reading the pick.
Did you guys have the television on at the start of the draft, and did you hear all of the booing that was going on when they introduced Roger Goodell?
Of course. That's tradition. You got to keep up with that tradition. You kidding me? So
and here is Chris Olave.
Yeah, I'm surprised here. So with the 11th pick in the NFL draft, the 2022 NFL draft, the New Orleans picked wide receiver out of Ohio State, Chris Olave. I don't know. When the Saints made this move to move up to number 11, wide receiver definitely was one of their main needs. Now, you obviously know that the injury that Jameson Williams suffered is affecting his draft stock. There's absolutely no question about that. But I did not expect this kid, Olave, to go this high, Matthew.
I didn't either. I thought he would go just a little bit lower. And if I'm Jameson Williams, I'm really starting to ask the question, are you really holding that ACL tear against me? And the reason I ask this is I know some people are going to say, well, wait a minute, you have to be cautious when a wide receiver goes down with an ACL tear, and the same thing goes for John Mechie out of Alabama. Well, and I have to go to this line of ACL tears are not the grim reaper they once were. One is not going to end your career. Two may have an impact, maybe three, but not one. And the medical advances that have been made in the last decade are so good that in 6 months, you could be fully healed from that.
Yeah, this is a suspect pick for me here. 6 foot, 187 pounds. I know that, as I said, size doesn't matter, but this is a thin kid who's just not physical enough in his routes. So that's going to be, he's not very good at getting yards after the catch as well. I mean, yes, he's got top end speed. He's a really good route runner. but and we're gonna have these picks, but I'm pretty confused about this pick at number 11.
He's going to have to bulk up. He's going to have to bulk up a whole lot. There's no question about it. So it starts to look better if he adds about a good 10 to 20 pounds of muscle, then the Saints may be okay. It's going to depend on Olave's ability to be a workout warrior, and we'll have to see how that goes. Absolutely. But they got a fast receiver who's going to work pretty well with Michael Thomas, another fellow former Ohio State Buckeye, of course. So that's going to be a very interesting dynamic duo.
Well, guys that are still still haven't been picked, probably sitting in the green room or sitting at home. One in particular that I thought might have gone would be Malik Willis. I thought he might have gone by now. But it's pretty, again, this was a surprising pick for the Saints to move up. I can see that. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that Olave would have been available at 16. So I'm confused. Yeah, I'm confused here.
I am too. I thought when the Saints moved up, maybe it wouldn't be for Olave. It would have been for Jameson Williams. They would have said, you know what? We're not worried about your ACL tear. You're going to fit in perfectly with us. And I don't know, there's going to be some teams that regret passing up on this big-time receiver who has top-end speed and is, 6'1", 6'2", has decent height to him, and you passed on him when you moved up to 11. I don't understand that at all, Ralph. You couldn't explain it to me in a million years.
Yeah, this one's a confusing pick. And again, not to say that the Saints didn't see something in this kid that we don't know. But the pick came to move up to 11 from 16 when I firmly believe he would have been available at 16. So, Miss Conley, how's it going out there, Miss Conley? Miss Conley's muted right now. He's taking a little walk. That's something that he can do. I hope when I go there, he doesn't expect me to walk around with him.
We just had wait, did we just have a trade?
Anybody that comes to visit me in Las Vegas walks with me in Las Vegas.
We got a trade here. The Detroit Lions will get the 12th pick in the NFL draft from the Minnesota Vikings. So let's see what we got.
Yeah, is Detroit going quarterback here, maybe?
I'm walking out of Planet Hollywood.
There it is, Matthew.
Oh, it's Jameson Williams. Finally, it has happened.
There it is. With the 12th pick, the Lions switch picks. We'll have to look into what the trade is, but the Lions move up to take the 12th pick in the draft from the Vikings, and with the 12th pick in the 2022 NFL draft, the Detroit Lions select wide receiver Jameson Williams out of Alabama. And like you just said, Matthew, look, the best wide receiver in the draft. So, too bad for the ACL tear, but the best receiver in the draft, an explosive receiver. Lions haven't had a guy of this type of caliber. I don't want to compare him to Megatron, but they haven't had this type of buzz at wide receiver since Megatron.
Exactly. And the last time we came even remotely close to a receiver with big-time buzz in Detroit, after Megatron, it's Kenny Galladay, basically, is who we're looking at there, who's currently with the New York Times. So, yeah, I like this pick. And now Detroit's starting to go in that right direction. A couple years ago, they drafted DeAndre Swift, very smart pick. Now it's Jameson Williams. They just need to make sure they know who's giving this guy the ball. Once they figure that out, they're going to be straight.
Yeah, and again, a really great. Now, mind you that all the hype that surrounds Williams comes from 1 year of production. So we have to be careful, because even at the pro level, you can have yourself one big year. but Jameson Williams projects to be a really good receiver at the NFL level. He's got to work on being out muscled and pushed around out on the field, but that's going to come with experience. But again, the Lions thought that he was worth moving up to get with the 12th pick.
And another thing I suspect right away with that trade up from Detroit is I think Detroit's probably talking to Cleveland right now about a Baker Mayfield trade, because if they're not going to think that Jared Goff's their guy, they're probably on the phone right now trying to get Baker Mayfield. I'm almost certain of it.
I almost feel bad for Baker.
You almost do, but it's one of those things where, I mean, I love the fact that he showed toughness and grit trying to play that torn labrum. I just don't think it was the best decision, and it led to this domino effect. It really did.
What are we looking at, Robert?
What we're looking at right now is the Gordon Ramsay Burger, the restaurant here at the Planet Hollywood. I'm on my way out the door, the north door, and this is the entrance to that restaurant where they sell Gordon Ramsay burgers. Like I said, every chef that you can think of is out here, and this is right at the entrance of the Gordon Ramsay Burger restaurant on the north end of Planet Hollywood, where they got a bar. Every place got a bar. They make their money selling drinks. But anyway, your nice burger whenever you want to get a burger out here. Now, I don't know that they have any veggie burgers. I'm a vegetarian, and I don't know if they have any veggie burgers, but I'll just leave it right there. I don't know that they have any veggie burgers. So I'm back outside and across the street from the Bellagio, where that big tent is set up and the big screen, and everybody's standing out there in front of it and watching, just as if they were watching it live over there at the Caesar's Palace. So they got three areas where you can watch the draft. We're in Caesar's Palace, over there behind the Flamingo, and here in front of the Bellagio.
And of course, it is 9:35 p.m. Eastern Time, 8:35 Central, and the sun is out in Las Vegas. 6:35 p.m. I believe I'm correct there, Robert. 6:35 p.m. in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it looks like we got maybe an hour for it to go down over the mountains, and then it's over. Then this place going to get live.
Over here.
That's when the colors will start coming out. So you have the 13th pick, the Eagles. So we must have had another. We're having all kinds of trades, Matthews. This pick belonged to the Texans, now belongs to the Philadelphia Eagles. So the Eagles are now on the clock. Originally with the 15th pick, needing linebacker, cornerback, safety, defensive tackle, linebacker, defense. And when you look at Matthews' pick for the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, actually, you know something? I'll tell you what, they had the 18th pick and the 15th pick. So you actually thought that Williams might last to 15 to Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
But he did go. It is one of the Eagles' needs, but their main needs are on defense. And one guy, I believe, if I'm correct, Jermaine Johnson is still on the board. Defensive end. Nakobe Dean is still on the board, linebacker from Georgia. So what do you think, Matthew?
Well, if they're going to go safety here instead of anything else, Kyle Hamilton becomes a very possible pick at 13. So let's see. Okay, that's somebody else. Okay, they're showing an earlier pick. But Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State, another really good speed rusher. I like him. So that could be another possibility. It would be nice to sort of have somebody on a defensive line to help out Fletcher Cox. So I can totally see that happening. Absolutely.
Well, the pick is in. We wait for that as Robert makes his way through the streets of Las Vegas. Everybody, I tell you, one thing about Vegas, they are out and about, Matthew. They are all over. Doesn't matter
where. Can you
where
give me a plane ticket, Ralph? I want to go there right now.
So do I, Matthew. So do I. So do I. If we can ever have an NGSC sports junket, we'll have it over. We'll have it in Robert's closet.
There's something that a lot of people don't know about Vegas. Vegas is not Vegas. People think that this is the gambling capital. It's not the gambling capital. We got all these casinos here, yes, but it's not the gambling capital. It's the show capital. All right, it's the gambling capital of the United States, but it's not the gambling capital of the world. It's the show capital of the world, because every one of these casinos also have shows, and they have a lot of people that are employed to manage these shows, such as, you know, when I'm on live and I'm talking about football and I'm doing Robert Live and doing the Steelers and doing all that stuff, I say that the NFL is the greatest show on earth. Well, that's what I believe when it comes to sports. But when it comes to entertainment, total entertainment other than sports, Cirque du Soleil is the greatest show on earth. When my daughter was young, my son was young, we would go to the Shriner Circus, and we enjoyed the Shriner Circus. And then we went to the Universal Circus, where it was the all African American circus, and that was fantastic. And then we went to Ringling Brother Barnum and Bailey Circus, and there was nothing like it. And then we went to Cirque du Soleil. And since we've gone to a Cirque du Soleil show, we've not been to another circus since. And I've been to Cirque du Soleil 20, 30 times. I've seen Ka 3 times. I've seen Michael Jackson 2 times. I've seen a number of these Cirque du Soleil shows more than once, because every time you go to a Cirque du Soleil show, and the Bellagio has the O Cirque du Soleil show, which is a water show, a water circus. These circuses do not have any they do not have any animals interacting with the humans. They do not have any animals at all. It all is with human ability. Okay, so I'm going to leave it right there, because I think somebody else just got drafted.
Well, the Philadelphia Eagles pick is in at number 13. Roger Goodell is letting us know who that is at the moment. He'll tell us in just a moment. We'll see what the Eagles did by trading up to the 13th pick. So here comes the pick from Roger Goodell with the 13th pick of the 2022 NFL Draft. The Philadelphia Eagles select Jordan Davis, defensive tackle.
Well, I kind of feel like I was onto something when I said they're going to give Fletcher Cox some help. And they sure did. The best defensive tackle on the board. They want to get mean. They want to get physical up front. And I think that's a great pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. The only question is, did they really have to trade up 2 picks to get this guy?
Yeah, again, here goes another.
Maybe with Baltimore on the board.
Well, Matthew, here goes another pick where we have to question. They moved from 15 to 13. What made them think that Jordan Davis wasn't available? Yes, the Minnesota Vikings, well, they'll be coming on the clock soon. As a matter of fact, no, because remember, the Vikings traded that pick.
Right. So with Baltimore picking, I think maybe that has to go into the thinking, because the Ravens do typically draft defense. So that could be part of the motivation right there. And the pick's already in, so they got their guy. That was fast.
Again, this is another pick that I'm surprised, because I would have expected Jordan Davis to be available at 15. But speaking of Jordan Davis, not a lot of quickness, not a lot of burst for an NFL player about to be an NFL player. His greatest weakness to me is he's still having a lot of trouble fighting the double teams and fighting off the double teams. And he's going to see them in the NFL. They know that that's one of his weaknesses, but you know he's a productive defensive player. He's a need for Philadelphia. He's a great athlete for his size, so he's got that going for him. His athleticism, but he needs work. He needs work. He still needs work.
Yeah, he's going to need a lot of work. the one positive I will say with him, drawing those double teams, there's going to be someone else on the defensive line that's going to benefit from that, and namely a veteran like Fletcher Cox. So even if Jordan Davis isn't that playmaker Philadelphia is looking for, that's always going to free up somebody else to go going free, just totally bringing down quarterbacks. So it's one of those picks where one way or another it will work. You just wonder how it's going to work.
Yeah, they're showing some film on him now, talking about his inconsistent pass run effort. And Matthew, I'm watching film of this kid coming off the snap, barely moving, basically just standing around watching the play. Young man, that's not going to work in the NFL.
No, you got to have a high motor. And actually, I would have, if I'm the Eagles, I would have preferred Devontae Wyatt over him. But I mean, that's neither here nor there.
Very interesting pick. Very.
Wahlburgers,
Subway, Mr. Conley, go pick me up a chicken teriyaki, a foot-long chicken teriyaki, sweet onion chicken teriyaki sandwich there.
Of course, I'm always the crazy one where I want them to bring back the
I'm in the mallway in front of the Tropicana right now. It's an outdoor mallway. I mean, you don't have to have interior malls here where you go inside. This one's on the strip, so you can go shopping at all of these little shops up and down the mallway here. And you saw the restaurants there, and there's some other restaurants over here on the other side. But I won't say just about anything you want is here. But if you want to rent a car, if you want to rent a car to drive around the strip, you can rent what you want to rent out here. It doesn't take but a little bit of money, but you can rent what you want to rent to drive the strip out here. Okay, it's up to you on how much you want to spend. If you want to drive the strip in a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, McLaren.
Robert, they let you park there? They let you park right there?
That's not my car, Ralph. Mine's down the street.
Oh man, when I saw that car, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's got my name on it right there."
I thought that was that Baccarat money car.
No, not yet. Matter of fact, the Baccarat Dream car is a Porsche 911. That's the Baccarat Dream car, is a Porsche 911, black, dressed in gold Steelers garb. That's the Baccarat Dream car.
I would have never guessed the colors of the car. I would have never guessed the color of the car. Absolutely. Well, the Ravens pick is in with the 14th pick. We'll await the announcing of the pick. Of course, Ravens in need of linebacker, edge, defensive tackle. We know that the Ravens are big on defense. They've always been a big defensive team, Matthew. So interesting to see where they go. You had the Ravens picking Devin Lloyd, linebacker out of Utah. He is available. Let's see where they go.
So is Nakobe Dean, and that's where the complication comes in.
Yeah.
Now they could also go Jermaine Johnson too. True.
All right, the pick is in. And with the 14th pick of the 2022 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Kyle
Hamilton.
Safety out of Notre Dame. Fooled us both, Matthew.
Yeah, I did not think they were going to go safety. I'm a little bit surprised by that pick. Wow. I am stunned right now.
Yeah, they did have a need. They did have a need in the defensive backfield. One of them being cornerback. But I will admit, now remember that Kyle Hamilton was supposed to be on a lot of boards a top 10 pick. So is this another one of those picks? Number one on defense, and number two, best player available for the Ravens that they couldn't pass up on.
It's one of those best players available. It does fit a need, obviously, like you said, but I think Baltimore went best available, and I think that's a really good pick for them. I mean, Baltimore is expected to have one way or another a dominant defensive line, a dominant front seven. So I got the sense with that pick that Baltimore wasn't too worried about how their front seven was going to look. They figured they're going to get opportunities to build that later in the draft, which is probably true. So yeah, get the best safety available. I think that's a pretty good pick for them, an absolute steal.
And I love the way this kid comes downfield when he goes downhill through that line. That when he gets a hold of the guy with the ball, he wraps him up. He's great at tackling and wrapping up a guy and getting him to the ground pretty fast, very fast. Kid. Now, of course, there's going to be some concern about his slow 40 times. Listen, folks, I think 40 times sometimes so much overrated because it's so much the instincts of the game. He ran a 4.7 at Pro Day. Okay, he should. They were expecting him to run somewhere in the 4.5s, But so that's going to be. We'll see if that's telling. He does have the propensity to lose his coverage assignments as well. But overall, for the Ravens, a defensive team, it's a hell of a pick, Matthew.
It really is. And I have to say, now the winner of this whole scenario looks to be the team that's currently on the clock, the Houston Texans, making Philadelphia's trade up look so much more questionable after that. So what I'm thinking is Philadelphia anticipated Baltimore to go deep line. That didn't happen. So, yeah.
I'm not, again, two questionable trade-ups. And it wasn't like they traded up to go far up, 16 to 11, 15 to 13 with the two trades we've had. And you start to question that. So let's see if the Houston Texans can now take advantage of that. The Texans still needing, of course, guard, center, corner. We'll see exactly how this goes here.
And somebody's baiting some of these GMs into these trades.
Yeah, right. You're wondering because again, some of these picks you don't understand, but that's the beauty about the draft. See, that's the beauty about the draft. That's what I love about it. Is you never know what's going to happen. How's it going, Mr. Conley?
Hey, I'm walking over here in front of the Flamingo that is just across the street from Caesar's Palace, where the draft is actually going on. And as you're talking about baiting the GMs into making their picks and considering that, there are plenty of people out here that work in the sports books that believe that stuff goes on. They believe that it's not all straight up. They believe that there's some, whatever you want to call it, going on in the NFL. And the more that there are casinos that are having sports books and the more that people can bet on sports, the more money comes into play in the games on who's going to win. I'm not going to tell you 100% that I know what's going on, but I will tell you that when I started an account, I set up a file and took it to my lawyer, and I was going to sue the NFL. My lawyer came back to me and told me I had a case that I could win. But I was told by two people close, very, very close to me, not to file that suit because the NFL had too much money. It'd be a dangerous situation. And it was because the Steelers were getting cheated years back. I mean, it happens almost every year. But the Steelers were getting cheated years back, which prompted me to see if I could pick the winners of the NFL games. Not just one game, but for the entire AFC North for the second half of the year. And I sat down and I picked every game of the AFC North for the second half of the season at the season half. And when I did that and I watched the rest of the games for the rest of the year, I only picked 2 wrong. I picked them for a certain reason. I'm not going to say that here because if somebody wants to bet me, then they're going to bet me for a certain reason. I want to win my money. Forget it. I'm not going to tell them the secret. But it's not all what we see. It's not all what we think. There could be a little bit of David Copperfield there, and some people don't even know it. This is Robert Conley on NGSC Sports with Ralph Garcia and Matthew Wilder, and we're covering the NFL Draft live here in Las Vegas. It's going on across the street in Caesar's Palace. All these people are unaware. They went back to the tent. See what I say, smoke and mirrors, things that are not happening that you think are happening. They went back to the tent believing they were going to watch the draft live, and they got a big television screen. This is Robert Conley, Ralph Garcia, and Matthew Wilder on NGSC Sports.
So the pick, of course, in number 15 with the Houston Texans. And Matthew, another surprise with the 15th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. The Houston Texans select offensive guard Kenyan Green out of Texas A&M, a guy who I truly believe was a late first-round pick.
Yeah, I don't know why he went this early, but I have to give the Houston Texans some credit. At least they traded down first before taking this guy, and they have a lot more draft capital to work with. So Houston's kind of looking like one of those genius teams that, I hate to say baited Philadelphia, but looks like they baited Philadelphia pretty badly.
Yeah, so with Green, one of the main issues with Green is he has a tendency to hold. There's a lot of film on him showing him holding where the holding call wasn't called, but he has a big tendency to do that. He gets beat in pass protection. I don't like that at all. He also he struggles to maintain the block against quick edge rushers. So those are things that, again, why he was projected to be at the end of the first round, something that the Houston Texans saw in him. Of course, is great tackle in college. Again, in college, great tackle in college. He may move inside on when he gets to the NFL. We'll see if that happens. Has long arms. And pretty athletic, good legs, but it's just too many weaknesses there, Matthew, for me to explain. One thing we're getting out of this draft, Matthew, is a lot of, and I can't wait to, obviously, Matthew, if you're wondering what you're writing up this week, you don't have to wonder. It'll be recapping the NFL Draft and what your thoughts were, because I'm curious to find out your thoughts and my thoughts when we review what happened tonight as to some of these picks and understanding the trades, the moving up for certain players and players being picked, projected at the end of the first round, being picked here at the top half of the first round.
Yeah, and especially with these trade-ups. And I can't say I really believe that there would be, right off the bat, 3 of the first 5 picks being edge rushers. I knew there would be a run at that position. I expected it. And there's definitely been a run at both that and wide receiver, as I've been expecting the whole time. Did I think it would happen quite this fast? No, not quite. I thought it would be more spread out than what it was. It's just not happening.
Yeah. So the pick is in the Washington Commanders. Let's get used to that. The Washington Commanders have the 16th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. And with that pick, the Commanders pick wide receiver out of Penn State, Jahan Dotson. Oh, what's that all about, Matthew?
Ralph, if I had an answer, I'd be a millionaire or something. I don't know. Again, this guy could have been available in the second round, and they're taking him.
I was going to say,
right
this is
now.
this is a second round guy being picked with the 16th pick.
I mean, the only second round projection I can understand being picked right now would be maybe in the later round, Christian Watson, maybe, but not Jahan Dotson. I mean, he's got the body control and such. He's got the torque, but I don't know. This seems a little early for this guy. I don't know.
A little early. This guy was projected somewhere in the mid 40 to early 50 pick, and here he is at pick number 16. This is a small, and I'm looking at film on him right now. This is a really small guy. This guy's going to get knocked around. He's going to get knocked around. He's going to face
press coverage. Yeah, he's going to face a whole lot of press.
Yeah, and that's the way you play a small kid like him, is press him. He's not a physical kid. He's very susceptible against physical corners, against bigger guys. He's not very well at yards after the catch. I mean, what is his measurables here? 5'11", 178 pounds. I mean, he's a slippery, deceptive receiver. Yes, that's fine. But, Matthew, we're getting a lot of surprises here. The next pick is in. The Los Angeles Chargers have already made their pick. Roger Goodell is at the podium. And with the 17th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Zion Johnson, guard, out of Boston College. I know, Matthew.
What is going on here, Ralph? Do you have any explanation as to the picks that are being made?
I don't understand right now. Again,
is this a second round guy?
Another second round kid being picked in the middle of the first round. Maybe the end of the first round pick, but this is a second round pick. Not only being picked in the first round, but in the middle of the first round, Matthew.
Yeah, I really don't understand this. It makes me think there's going to be a few players picked in the second round that should have gone in the first round. So I think we're in the process of seeing a complete reversal. And this is proof projections don't mean a thing.
He's a strong kid who's really good against the run. Looking at film right now, again, very good blocker, good against the run. But again, we're talking about a second round guy going in the middle of the first round. So I'm waiting to hear the answers to the questions as to what is with all these picks. I'm at a loss here.
I don't get it either. I mean, we can try all night and all day tomorrow to try to figure this out, and we won't have enough time in that time span to figure this out. We're going to be searching for answers for weeks or months.
Well, he's coming up to the stage with a giant smile on his face. No kidding.
Payday for him.
What do you got there, Mr. Conley? What do you got going on?
What I'm going to say is that the reason why you're stunned, the reason why you don't know what's going on with the draft picks, and my guess is that the exact team being able to pick the exact player that they want to pick has to be able to come up at the right time and pick the right player at the time that they want. So these guys are picking, or women, whoever's in charge, they're picking who they believe is best for them at the time that's available. And so, like you said, trying to guess what it is or who it is that they want at the time is not what is happening. I mean, they have a hard enough time themselves figuring out who it is that they want to pick. And then being in the position, being on the clock, making sure that this is who we want. And if it's not who we want, who else do we want? They have to make a choice right quick on who it is that they need to get. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a problem. But right now where I'm at is I'm in front of Caesar's Palace. You see the fountains. And in the 60s and 70s, Caesar's Palace and the Plaza downtown is where Smoking Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, and all those guys used to fight at. And now they don't have those fights here anymore, but that's where all the fights used to be. Now they have these fights at MGM down the street. And that's where I'm at right now. And I know we only have a little bit of time left. Actually, we're over time right now. I don't know what kind of time you guys have, but I'm going to start walking to my car, which is about a half mile away, because I couldn't get in here and park. And I decided I was going to park in a place where I knew I can park at. So we'll keep on going as long as you guys want to go. If you guys are about done, I know it's been a lot of talking. I know it's been a lot of talking going on for these 2 hours and trying to keep up. So if you guys are ready to go, that's good. If you want to keep on talking a little while longer, I'm good with it till I get back to my car.
Well, we'll keep going till you get back to your car. Absolutely, definitely go till you get to your car. The 18th pick is in. That would be my new beloved team since I have been here, the Tennessee Titans. Have the 18th pick here in the NFL draft. Apparently, they have also moved up, Matthew, because the Titans originally had the 26th pick and have now moved up to the 18th spot. So the Titans see something. Now the question, Matthew, is, are the Titans going to be the first team to make a trade and trade up because they see something that's actually something worth seeing? Because right now, we haven't been able to explain the other teams that have moved up to make these picks.
No, and I think we're accustomed now to the idea of when these trade ups are happening, they're not for the players that you're expecting. So hopefully this is a trade up that seems to have a bit more logic to it, because I don't think we've seen one yet that's really all that logical.
Whoa, the Eagles, the Tennessee Titans have traded
A.J.
Brown. Wow.
Ooh, that means they're going receiver. That means they're going receiver. Why would they trade A.J. Brown now?
Now that's not.
Oh, that guy's mad. That guy's mad. He has A.J. Brown and now he has to give it up. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, that's not. Now it's going to be interesting to see what happens here, because A.J. Brown, a very popular player here in Tennessee.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a wow right there. That's a wow.
Well, I feel very. Should I feel sorry for you yet, or should I wait till the pick is in? I don't know what to think here.
I don't either. I mean, who? I'm at a loss for words right here. You don't re-sign Julio Jones. You get rid of A.J. Brown. Who do the Titans have at receiver now? Who are they going to get? I mean, I'm mad. This is crazier about the minute.
Yeah, I don't understand this at all. I wonder if this is going to be maybe a slight reach. Maybe they're looking at a guy like Christian Watson or somebody like that. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, the pick is in, and Roger Goodell is making his way to the podium.
But it's going to be a receiver, obviously.
The 18th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Treylon Burks.
Okay, I wasn't right with the person they picked, but Treylon Burks.
I mean, he's being picked what he was projected to be picked, but I am at a loss for words here. Matthew. I mean, he has a great combination of size and speed. He's able to out-muscle and out-strength quarterbacks. But I'm pretty much, I'm not understanding. Well, I can't wait for you to write this up so you can explain it to me, because I can't explain it to me.
I will try to explain it. That's not going to be easy. I mean, at this point, we can only speculate. but that tells me something wasn't right in Tennessee. I mean, we gotta wait for official words, and we have to be careful what we say live on the air, and I totally understand that. But I have to at least wonder. I'll say it that way. I'm not going to make any definitive statements, but I have to wonder if there's some sort of something happened in the locker room that we don't know about. There has to be something more to it. It can't just be he was in a contract year. No.
Well, I'm going to be curious to see the reaction here in Tennessee from this pick right here, because I can tell you for a fact that the trading of A.J. Brown is not popular. It's not going to be popular. So this is, I want to see if I see anything here on social media.
Yeah, I think there's more to it. I don't think this was a draft strategy. I don't buy that for a second. I think something happened internally, or he must have told the Titans for whatever reason he wanted out. Something smells.
Yeah, very much so, Matthew.
It's very suspicious.
They trade A.J. Brown to the Eagles. Not sure. Just not sure. They got Eagles gave up the 18th pick and then the 101st pick in the third round. And you've got a lot. Oh, there's a lot of comments here on the Titans Facebook page, and they wonder why the stadium is half empty. This was the best you could come up with. Seriously, Titans, come on. No running back, no wide receiver, no backup quarterback, no backup running back. Lord help us. This is not going well. Not going well at all.
No, I mean, now granted, they got themselves a stud receiver, to take the place of A.J. Brown. But again, what logical reason was there for trading this guy in the first place? The Titans need to just come out and make a press statement or something.
Well, I'm gonna be paying attention to that, and I'll probably when I get all the info, I'll probably write that one up myself, because I know there's going to be a lot of feedback from Titan fans here. Nashville is not going to be happy. Yes, they're talking about, this kid is an A.J. Brown type player, but I want to know what happened. Something happened, like you said, Matthew. Something happened.
Something had to have happened, because again, and maybe it's just me. Maybe the Titans will come out and say it's purely a draft strategy move. But at first thought, I don't buy into that. I would like to see more. I know we have to, and those of us in the media have to be the balance, and we have to be all about that. So I have to give some sort of leeway to the Titans that maybe there was something to it that we don't know.
Brown, A.J. Brown was wanting some money. He was wanting to get paid.
That could be too.
Yeah, and maybe the Titans told him, this is what we're going to offer you, and Brown said no, not good enough, so I'm out. And that's the thing. Growing up, in my time and Robert Conley's time, when you looked at your football team, you had your football players, and they were on your team for years and years and years. Money drives so much right now. It's like A.J. Brown knowing he's the number one option here in Tennessee, knowing he's the number one option. And you could only guess that it had to be a money issue. I can't see anything else. Now,
it could have been a money issue. That's very true. I don't know. It's just something doesn't feel right about this whole thing.
What a crazy first round, my friend. What a crazy first round.
I mean, and even if it was a money thing, they don't have Julio Jones anymore, so they could have paid him. It was not going to destroy their cap.
You literally just dismantled your wide receiving corps.
Yeah, overnight.
Yeah, this is a team that was so stretched thin for wide receiver you had guys playing at the end of the season that normally wouldn't see any NFL time at wide receiver.
Right.
So probably the last pick we'll get to do is Mr. Conley gets closer to his car with the number 19 pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. The New Orleans Saints select Trevor Penning, offensive tackle, Northern Iowa. Look, Matthew.
Okay, I like this pick. I wasn't too
that?
sure about that first one.
Okay, but again, Matthew, here's my problem with this pick. This is a second-round guy. Another second-round guy going in the first. So now I can't wait to the end of the day to find out how many first-rounders, projected first-rounders, are now going to be sitting. There's always that one or two guys.
Right.
Well,
We're seeing a lot more of them.
we got second-rounder after second-rounder.
No, I think what the Saints should have done instead is they could have made a trade down with the Bengals and maybe taken this guy at 32. That's what they could have done.
Well, this is a big guy. He's a physical blocker. He's got an NFL body, but, you know, he's still got a lot of – you talk about a raw player. He's still got a lot of intangible, a lot of things to work on here. Again, Trevor Penning, Northern Iowa, 6'7", 321 pounds. I don't know. This is going to be very interesting to see. Very interesting.
Very interesting, yeah. Now, I'm also curious. Now, here's Robert's team. And I know I said Matt Corral earlier. If I could go back and edit that article, I would say Malik Willis in a heartbeat, maybe? I don't know.
Right. Are they going to go Kenny Pickett? We've got the 20th pick, Mr. Conley. The 20th pick is coming up. The 20th pick belonging to your beloved Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll go ahead and take that pick, and after that pick, Mr. Conley, you can go ahead and end the show.
Okay, and right now I'll let you know that what most of the Pittsburgh Steelers fans want is to get Pickett because he's a hometown boy, basically, and they've been watching him, and they want him to be on the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we'll see what happens. Pittsburgh picks, they often pick players that are close to home. I mean, they picked a lot of Ohio Staters. They picked a lot of Pennsylvania kids, and they may just continue that trend with this pick here tonight on the NFL Draft on NGSC Sports.
I'll tell you, Matthew, right now, from all the picks that we've seen, I think the biggest impact pick or the winner so far, in my opinion, Kayvon Thibodeau going to the New York Giants at number 5. That was a huge pick for the Giants right there. So I want to see how that works out. But you know what's going to bother me as an avid Pittsburgh Steeler hater, it's going to really bug me to see the Steelers get it right. And I have a funny feeling they're about to get it right, Matthew.
They're about to nail it one way or another. Now, another potential pick it could be is they could go lineman, maybe taking Tyler Linderbaum out of Iowa. That's another possibility. They know that whoever the quarterback's going to be, they need protection. And I mean, and you had 2 AFC North teams that were in dire need of offensive linemen coming in this draft. And I know that people say, well, wait. The Bengals, didn't they sign 3 linemen in the draft? Well, when you're on that team, when you have Joe Burrow that suffered 2 ACL tears, you can't have enough offensive linemen. You just can't.
And speaking of Linderbaum, he's one of those guys that he's still on the board.
He's still on the board. I mean, I think he would be.
Yeah, it's a projected top 10 pick, and he's still on the board. So
yeah, but with that run at edge rushers and wide receivers, I kind of felt like this was going to happen.
Yeah, you can kind of see it. But he's slipping, so it's interesting to see. The pick is in. We await the pick here. We have thoroughly enjoyed sightseeing Las Vegas, Nevada live with Robert Conley. It makes me want to be there more than ever. It's a beautiful place. And I watch as Robert walks and walks and walks, and he's wearing me out. He's making me so tired with all this walking.
Well, I gotta say, I'm so glad it's nice and warm over there, because if I went outside right now in this shirt, I would be freezing.
Oh,
I think it's in the 30s outside.
What I'm waiting for is I want to see the Porsche 911. I can't wait to see it.
I want to try to get that this year. I want to try to get that before New Year's Eve this year. I've upped my game. I have been doing decently well. Sometimes I get into a place where all professionals get, and you need a coach or you need some counseling, and I get to that point sometimes, and then I find a spot where it's really, really good, and then things go up and they get better. I'm trying to get into that spot where things go up and they get better and they stay better. I need to get a big enough cushion so that I can do what I want to do every day and take care of everything that I want to take care of, including, now there's some other people that need to be taken care of before I get taken care of. Okay? Other people have to get taken care of before me, but I want to get all of those people taken care of so that I can get to the Baccarat Dream, that 911, the black 911 with a little tail on the back with the Pittsburgh Steelers underneath the door. That's what I want to get to. But that means I got to get to a place where everybody's satisfied first.
Well, I won't let any cats out of the bag except to say that obviously I'm always rooting hard for Mr. Conley to get his groove on and get it on real good. So here we go with our final pick of this show as Franco Harris steps to the podium next to Roger Goodell to announce the 20th pick of the 2022 NFL Draft that belongs to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And although I can't stand the Pittsburgh Steelers, you can't have nothing but respect for the likes of Franco Harris, the guy who worked his tail off, helped the Steelers win multiple Super Bowls. So here we go as Franco is screaming and wearing his black suit with his gold handkerchief.
And it is the local favorite, everybody.
Conley with the 20th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. The Pittsburgh Steelers select quarterback out of the University of Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett. And by the way, the kid is emotional. He is emotional and he is beside it. He is so emotional right now. Wow.
You may be looking at the second half of the season starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers right there.
I don't know. It could be week 1. I don't know. Depends how.
I'm not going to give him week 1. I'm going to. I'll go to the second half of the season. I won't go as far as, and I'm a gambling man, but I won't go as far as saying he's going to be the first string quarterback come week 1. We'll see what happens this summer, but I don't think he's going to be there. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
All right, Mr. Conley, go ahead and close out the show.
All right, so this is Robert Conley, Ralph Garcia, and Matthew Wilder. I'm glad you guys could come on the show and give the commentary of the draft picks as you did, because I could not get in where it was going on. I couldn't even get in where it wasn't going on without them blacking me out. So I'm glad you guys were able to come on, give the commentary with your knowledge of the college players, and help this game of commentary, this game of speaking, giving our thoughts and our comments and our opinions. I'm glad you were able to do that today, because without you doing that, this show would have been Robert live in Las Vegas and walking the strip again. Let me see if I can get the mountains here, because the sun's gone down behind the mountains now.
Oh, look at that.
Wow, what a view.
What a view. What a view.
So this is Robert Conley, Ralph Garcia and Matthew Wilder saying, have a good night, everybody. Watch what you want to watch. Have a good time. And remember, the NFL is the greatest show on earth, thanks to the man that's booed every year, Roger Goodell.
Good job, guys. Have a good night.
All right, thank you, everybody. Have a good night.